CIT 1121, Module 9, Submodule 3, IPv6 neighbor discovery. This is a really good slide, and it's almost covered with ARP. Like when we talked about ARP, and we're going to get basically the same kind of thing here with IPv6, except ARP is considered a broadcast technology. So when you send out those ARP broadcast messages, when you send out an ARP request and you say, hey, who is this particular device, please send me back your MAC address, it goes to all the devices that are on your network. Now, in IPv6, they don't believe in broadcasts. They believe in multicast. So even though it's going to be almost exactly the same, it's a little bit different because when we send out a request to a local host, it's going to be something called a neighbor discovery. And that neighbor request is only going to go to devices that are listening on the multicast for neighbors, and that's other hosts. And if we send out remote traffic and we're trying to get the MAC address of the router, that is called a router solicitation, and only routers are listening to those messages. So these are truly multicast messages as opposed to broadcast messages, even though it's pretty close to being the same thing. It's a little bit different. So I'm going to take just a short slide. We're going to go through just 2 slides here. And this one just mentions the IPv6 neighbor discovery messages. So ARP is out in IPv6. It is not used. That is an IPv4 technology only. And in IPv6, we're going to use something called a neighbor discovery, which is just like ARP, except for it only goes out to a multicast address. Instead of going out to a broadcast, that MAC address of all Fs, we're going to use a multicast MAC address value that's only going to go to hosts. And it's going to say, hey, neighbor, send me back your MAC address. It's really that easy. And you get the same result as you got with IPv4. When we want to send remote traffic, we're going to get the public IP address from our local router, and we're going to get a MAC address for our local router so we can pass it through our switch. We're going to send out a router solicitation. We're going to say, hey, router, I need to know what your MAC address is because I got some remote traffic to send. And the router is going to oblige with the router advertisement, and you're going to get what you're looking for. And that's where it goes with IPv6. So it's the same, but it's slightly different. It's a little more efficient as far as like how many devices are going to receive and yet not use messaging, right? Because broadcast is a little bit less efficient than what multicast is. And it makes perfect sense. And this slide just has this is a nice slide that just kind of shows the process of a neighbor discovery with a neighbor solicitation and a neighbor advertisement going back and forth. So you can see the neighbor solicitation. Hey, whoever has this particular IP address, send me your MAC address. And PC2 says, hey, that's me. I will go ahead and send my MAC address back to you, PC1. And then PC1 can send the actual data that it wants to send over to PC2 after that's finished. So there it is in IPv6. That concludes Module 9. I'll see you in Module 10.